Hey everyone, in this video I'll take your Firefox from looking like this to more like this. I'll also go over some privacy and security extensions that I like to use and then end off with some productivity and a couple programs I like to use with Firefox. So as a long-term Brave browser user, I thought I'd make the switch to Firefox. I wanted to get away from the Chromium-based browsers, and these are just some of the extensions I like to use. Let's get into it. First things first, you're going to want to download Firefox. You can do that by just searching for Firefox and then going to the Mozilla website. Go to Firefox for desktop and download Firefox. Alright, so this will take just a little bit, but once it's installed, you can start adding some extensions. So once Firefox is installed, it should look something like this, where you have all these ads and things. So what I like to do is get rid of all this stuff. You can do that by going down to the settings here, get rid of recommended, I get rid of shortcuts, then I remove that from toolbar, and then never show for the bookmarks, and then I also get rid of these little things up here, but I keep this puzzle piece because that is our extensions. Okay, when I have a fresh install of Firefox, I like to just go to settings. I always make sure it's on dark mode. Kind of just check all these. I think all this is fine. Go to home. Now, you could, on the Firefox home content, get rid of the web search. So when you open a new tab, you have this search bar right here. And if you get rid of that, you just have this real clean blank page, but I kind of like having the little Firefox and web search thing there. Now for privacy and security, you could go with strict. I just do standard. And then I do not ask to save passwords. I do not autofill payments. I do not like doing any of that. You can also mess with the settings here. Then I uncheck all of those. And the rest of this looks good. So now we can get into the extensions. So to download extensions, you just hit this little puzzle piece right here. And the first one that I'm going to do is the hacker theme. And it's actually the hacker animated theme. And then all you have to do is install the theme. This is just the one that I like. And when you open a new tab, it looks all cool and everything. So this is the one that I use. You could pick any theme really. Alright, so most of the security and privacy add-ons for Firefox I'm going to go over are, they more or less do the same things. Most of them will block ads, hopefully keep trackers from tracking your data and your identity across the internet. So I'm going to show just a couple that I've experimented with, I like personally. I usually don't use all of these at the same time. It can make the browser very slow, so I usually just pick a couple and see which ones work best together and just block the most ads essentially. So the first one, I almost always use this one actually, is Ghostry. And to add it to Firefox, you just hit add to Firefox. Now some of these will open in a new tab. I also like to run in private windows. And then basically you just have to click enable. I'm actually not going to share insights with them, however. And then setup is successful. You just hit OK and there you go. Now these extensions will pop up here sometimes, or you can click on the extensions here and then it'll show the ones that you have and manage your extensions. Now I usually like to clean up this toolbar, so I'll unpin them, but you can keep them there if you want to see what they're up to or just easily click on them. Alright, so the next security extension I like is Privacy Badger. It lets you opt out of data sharing basically and can block trackers across the internet. So run that in private windows and just add it. After that we got uBlock Origin. I've used this primarily with Brave browser, but also works fine here on Firefox. It advertises itself as easy on the CPU and memory. So if that is important to you, this one might be the ad blocker for you. Next one's AdGuard ad blocker. I was recommended this one before, especially for YouTube. Okay, so this one opens up in another tab. Looks like it's loading some filters for us. All right, so this is letting you configure AdGuard. So we definitely want to block trackers, block phishing. Yes, and then I will not do that. Next up, we have ad nauseum. So this obfuscates your browsing data. So it's a one to fight against surveillance on the internet. So we'll add this, run in private windows and add. Okay. And then it takes you to this cool page. So we're definitely going to hide ads. Definitely block that and block malware. And I'm actually not going to make no exceptions. Let's go. After that, we got Privacy Possum. So this one is also a extension that blocks tracking. So we have quite a few of those. So I've used this one quite a bit. What is added to Firefox? And there we go. We got it added. So Smart HTTPS is another security extension that I like using. It will basically attempt to change HTTP web addresses to HTTPS when you encounter them. So this one's pretty great. Next up, we have Malwarebytes. So Malwarebytes is a antivirus company, but if you're doing a lot of browsing on the web, this one's pretty decent to have. All right, now we're going to get into some of the extensions that I like using for more so productivity and just other things not necessarily related to privacy and security. So the first one is Web App Analyzer. So this one's pretty neat. Basically, it lets you see all the technologies that a website or page is made out of. For example, here it is, and we can go to Webalyzer. I'm going to disable that, and so you can see this page is made with some JavaScript, Vue, and Nuxt.js. Looks like they're using Cloudflare for their CDN and Stripe for their payment processors. So it's pretty useful, especially if you're into cybersecurity or you're just trying to identify how someone's website is made, basically. But it also give you some good ideas and what tools people use when they're making websites. Now, DF YouTube is probably one of my favorite browser extensions, especially if you're someone like me. I go on YouTube quite a bit, and that is because I'm watching like instructional videos on stuff, and I usually get very distracted. So you can basically hide the feed, hide trending tabs, and it's just really great to make it distraction free, and then all you're able to do really is like search for what you're looking for. So with that stuff activated, you can go to YouTube, and basically YouTube will just look like a search bar pretty much. So you don't have all that junk, shorts, recommendations, and you can just search for basically what you need. So it's really great if you're have a busy work day and you want to just disable YouTube and just get things done. Watch the videos that you know that you need to search for instead of being recommended a bunch of stuff. Next one I really like is Unpaywall. This one's really great if you're in school and you need to look at like a bunch of research papers and whatnot. It'll basically allow you to not pay for research papers. So you could try it out right here. So as you can see, we have some crazy paper here on 7 temperate terrestrial planets. Okay, but basically it's go ask you if you want to pay. You click this here and it will bring you to a version that is free. It's basically looks more like a PDF, and you can just read the paper right here. Next productivity add-on that I really like is Resurrect Pages. So this one's really great. If you're searching for stuff and you get a lot of dead pages or broken links, and it will basically try to find those for you. So let's add that. Also has a really cool name. The next couple add-ons that I'm going to recommend are more so for images online, but this one's a great reverse image search tool. So basically what you can do is right click an image and then search it. So we'll do Google. Should take us to Google Images. Then give it a second. It'll upload that image and then it'll reverse search it for you. So it'll pull up similar or exact images of what you selected. So that one's pretty cool. All right, the next extension I would recommend is the View Image extension. So basically when you're on Google Images, it'll bring back that View Image tab right there. Should say View Image. You click that, it'll open it up in another tab, and there you go. The next one I like is Imagus. So you add that. And this one, basically when you hover over images, they'll pop out. So for example, you can click on this and it should, once it buffers, should pop out like that. So I don't know, I like this extension. I've used it quite a bit. So you just hover over an image and it basically pops out. All right, this next extension I'm going to recommend is basically just a color picker. It's called Colorzilla. And when you use it, you can find out what colors are. So this one's pretty useful extension. I like using it, especially if you do a lot of CSS and you need to know the exact RGB for a certain color. Then the last extension that I will recommend is OneTab. I actually really like this extension. Basically, it'll put all your tabs into a list. So let's use it, and there you go. So basically, all the tabs I had open, it's now just in one big list, and it just really cleans up your browser space up there. Then you could get rid of some of them, or you can click on them and then they'll open up like that. So super useful extension. All right, so the next two things I'm going to recommend are not necessarily extensions, but they're two things that I use with Firefox. So the first one is a VPN, and I use Mulvad VPN. It's just the one that I've been using for a while now. I'm not sponsored or anything. It's just the VPN that I've liked, and it works pretty well. So this is one that I would recommend. And then in terms of a password manager, I don't use a browser password manager or any of the built-in ones. I actually use KeePass XC, which is separate from the browser. That's just my personal preference, and it's worked pretty great so far. All right, so once you download all your extensions, Firefox should look something like this. And in my opinion, it's a real clean look. I really like how it is. To get to all your extensions, you can just click right there. And if you want to manage them, you go down to Manage Extensions, and you could turn them off or on based on your needs. So anyway, hope that you all like the video. Let me know if you've tried any of these extensions or if there's any that you would recommend. I'd be really interested in hearing about that. And I'll talk to you all next time.